Hi, Mike Kennedy. I want to talk about what I see developing as the two-tier uh, internet. A lot of the services that you use are going to this idea of a paid version. Okay, Twitter, Musk said he was going to charge $8 a month for this. Uh, Instagram, I was surprised just recently. I got the notice like a day or two. They want $14.99, so almost double that a month for their like premium service. It's funny, their premium service includes uh, better verification and getting rid of people impersonating you, and it's like, shouldn't those things be included anyway? Like better service, does that mean that they're admitting the free service isn't good? I don't know, but you see this two-tier thing, and this has happened on YouTube too as well. They have but it's done more with the private individuals. You have someone that's been on YouTube a while, and people get burned out or whatever. Or they realize how much work they put in, and they don't think they got enough financial reward out of it. So first you had Patreon, which is still being used, but I'm going to talk about what YouTube did about it. But so you would have this area where people could contribute to your channel. There's some kind of banking system there, so that someone can say, "Oh, I want to donate $10," or it could be that someone subscribes for $4.99 a month or something, whatever the level you would set. And why would someone do that? Well, you're going to produce content or something of value over in that these people that are giving you funds, they're the only ones that are going to be able to see it. So I was listening to one of the bushcraft channels I listen to a lot, and it's kind of funny how he was, what do I want to say, upselling it or taking it into a different light rather than kind of saying, gee, I'm just not making money for what's happening here. So the person's going to segregate out, and we mentioned Patreon, but what YouTube started was subscription. So in other words, you can have content that people can subscribe to your channel, and they'll see this extra content that you put on. It's like this guy said, well, no, nothing will change. You'll still get all this content, and it's like, I don't believe that. Usually, when you have a pay option and a free option, you're probably going to take the things that you think are special or you are new or unique, and you're going to put them over on the pay side. So I think the free side will suffer. But I'm thinking about what this will do to people's enjoyment of the internet anyway. Primarily, I'm talking about social media, things like Instagram. Instagram's changed quite a bit from X number of years ago, in that it's got an awful lot of business accounts. And so a lot of people are trying to reach you through Instagram for a product or service. So for them, paying this, $14 a month, what's that, like $180? Let's just say $200 a year isn't that much for advertising, but that might be a lot for someone else that has, I'll just make up, they have some seed saving organization, and it's all volunteers or whatever. That might be more than that person can spend on it. Maybe that isn't a good example, but you know what I'm saying. So what you're going to tend to see is more of the people who spent money and less of the people who didn't spend money. So it's going to change the feed even more because these things, the people that are being paid, the paid accounts are going to be put ahead of the free accounts. I mean, this is exactly what Twitter had said. You're going to have a greater reach with your verified account or your premium account, however you want to say that. See, it's kind of changed. Verified used to mean that in Twitter, the blue check, and then they had something on Facebook even years ago. I was going to try to raise some money for a kid in Haiti, and I couldn't mention it on Facebook unless I got verified. So I'll take a picture of my license and all this stuff and send them to them. So, you know, if you go to my account, I don't know if it shows up anywhere, but when I see it, it does say verified. So, but verified just means it's actually the person, because there's so many accounts out there. And, you know, you wouldn't think people would be so morally defective that they would impersonate someone else for the sole purpose of making that person look bad. But lo and behold, I've got people who duplicate my account and do exactly that. And it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I have a picture of these people that they're a moral equivalent to, you know, some 380-pound person living in their parents' basement, and he's sitting all there drinking his soda and eating chips, and, you know, just on the internet all the time. And, you know, things offend him, so he has to spend all his time doing things like this. So that's bizarre. But I think it will change what we're seeing if we're, you know, we tend to be on social media. Is that going to affect what we see and our experience of it? And I think it will. And I think it will to a detriment. And it will further drive. I mean, this is the exact wrong time for Meta, who is Facebook, right, to try to charge for Instagram when their user base is going down all the time. To me, it would seem like they would be putting these things in free to get more subscribers and, you know, make their money off ad revenue again like they used to. But this, I don't know, this sense of greed too here that everybody's got to get as much money as they possibly can. So, you know, they're trying to monetize things that should be free or were free at one time. And supposedly, Facebook was always going to be free. I think that eventually will be a pay thing too. And, you know, how much are you going to pay for something like that? Again, if you're a business, you just consider it advertising or anything. But are you going to really, say you're an individual, you're going to pay $180 for Instagram, you know, maybe, you know, around $100 for Twitter. And, you know, all of these things just add up. That's a lot of money after a while. So I think it will change. And like I say, even with YouTube, with people segregating out now, YouTube making it easier to have subscriptions, that the content that you see is going to be, could be a lot different, especially if you're in an area and you've enjoyed watching things about some specific topic. Like maybe someone's got a baking thing, and then all of a sudden they'll decide, wait a second, this information is good. It's better than free, so I'm going to, you know, and then they start charging. But I think that will decrease the user's experience. But then the thing that's coming too is peer-to-peer sharing. And why is this going to happen? Because it kind of has to happen. Normally, say I want to send an email to my neighbor right across the street here. I compose the email, I send it. It goes up to who knows where, somewhere in Google. It's on their server, you know, it goes through all of these sites and eventually comes, you know, it seems like it's instant, but it's gone through a lot of things and it eventually ends up at the neighbor's house. Now you can imagine, what if we had a system that I just keyed in who I wanted it to go to, and the internet skipped it from my house to across the street with no other things involved. This would provide, well, it has benefits, and it has, you know, some not so great things, I guess, about it. First off, you get rid of high-tech's influence to a large degree over the content on the internet. Now it's very easy for Google and different financial things, PayPal and everything, to just kind of say, oh, no, cut. You're not going to be able to do this anymore. And people haven't been able to because the thing is centralized. I know, believe it or not, I sent a message to someone in Congress once, and it was just a suggestion about how they were handling some hearings. And it wasn't politically correct. There was nothing dangerous, nothing whatever about it. But Google wouldn't deliver it. They read it and wouldn't deliver it. You know, the computers, I doubt if someone physically just sat there and read it, but a computer picked up a word that it didn't like and didn't deliver the mail. So, you know, I think people assume that mail isn't being read, but I think it's all being scanned by computers. And, you know, they're telling you it's for whatever, it's for a better experience, or so you know, the software you have that completes the lines as you type, it knows what you tend to say, you know, but that's all information that's gathered. And so more of this peer-to-peer type thing will come into the internet. Even Jack Dorsey predicted, he was, you know, I think this was last year sometime, and he kind of said, well, Twitter's going to be gone anyway soon because it's going to be replaced by this peer-to-peer thing. So again, it means that if, you know, I have a page on Twitter about foraging mushrooms and people like it, they're going to get a direct feed from me, direct message from me, and there's going to be no, you know, high-tech arbitrators in between. It isn't going to have to meet Facebook standards or YouTube standards or whatever. It's just going to go there. And you can see how that could be really good because you don't have censorship, but it also opens it up to you being to do human trafficking, selling drugs, and all kinds of horrible things that, you know, would be easier to do with the internet that can't be censored. So it'd be interesting when, I do believe this is going to come about, this peer-to-peer, and what will countries do that want to control the flow of information? In other words, if this happens, I'll basically be able to talk to anyone in North Korea or China or whatever, and give them news about what's happening in the world, and, you know, influence their thought process about their country by doing that. And, you know, one of the big ways that these countries survive and hold their population captive is by limiting the news that they can get. And there was something about one country, and I wish I remembered the country's name, and they just turned off the internet because so much of this information was coming in, and then they had to turn it back on because they realized they needed it. You know, so many things are being done over the internet. If all of a sudden it's like, if I think, okay, my neighbor across the street, I don't like what he's doing, I'll cut his power. I'll knock down one of the power lines. Well, what does that do? I don't have power. But that's sort of what I think has happened sometimes when government have been faced with the idea and just trying to turn it off. So it'll be interesting to see what that happens. I'm sure that, you know, they'll be developing things and to control that and try to censor things and stuff like that. But I think there will be a period where you could say it would be back to the old internet. You know, back in the origins of the internet, things weren't censored because there was no one to report it to. It was just a conglomeration of this kind of system that worked among colleges. You know, I got on the internet really, really early, and I can remember I had a 300 baud modem, it could produce text. There was no images, it was all text-based, but it could download text just about at the speed that I could read it, depending on the article. Sometimes it would be faster and sometimes it would be a little slower, but that gives you an idea how slow it was. I mean, now I have one of the faster connections here through cable, and I'm usually getting around 350 megabits per second. I mean, that's way fast compared to anything like that. And so it's just going to be interesting, I think, how this all shakes out, and what people will do to stop criminal activity, and will big tech still be trying to censor political thought too? And I'm sure they're going to figure out a way, but I think for a while it won't be that, because of this ability to basically hop directly to the person you're talking to without involving, you know, Google, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, Reddit, or anything. But we'll see. I think the next 10 years or so are going to be very interesting on the internet. And we'll definitely see what happens because, again, it's not like the countries usually really have an option of just shutting it down because they use it for so many things. So tell me what you think, and we'll see what happens. Bye.